Hello, everyone. So my name is Talal Tabbaa. I'm the CEO, one of the founders of Coinmena. We're a centralized exchange regulated by the Central Bank of Bahrain. I guess prior to Coinmena, I used to build products on Ethereum, built a wallet, Block Explorer, and a DeFi product called Tranche Finance. But the reality is, in the Middle East, all people wanted to do was buy ETH, buy Bitcoin, and basically speculate on shitcoins. No one really was interested in DeFi services or like DeFi products in general. So we decided to, I guess, follow the product market fit and build what people want as kind of a Trojan horse into DeFi. And that's why my title today is All Roads Lead to DeFi. Because the reality is, people sitting in this room won't have an issue storing their private key or paying gas for a transaction. But the reality is, if you ask any retail user, the reality is very different from the world that we live in. People basically don't want accountability. They don't want to be liable for possibly losing their funds, no matter how efficient those DeFi services is, whether it's lending, borrowing, trading, or any other feature. So, as you can clearly tell, presentation is not ready, but we'll wing it. I guess one of the biggest differences is it's so much more efficient than centralized applications, and I think this example is definitely overused, but it's super relevant. If you think of, like, we're comparing Uniswap to Coinbase, which is technically a crypto company. If you wanted to compare Uniswap to something like the Dubai financial markets, when you actually, like, I tried to buy a stock in Dubai and I was shocked. That was like 2 years ago. And I had to fill out like a freaking physical application. And they had to mail me something. Here, this comparison shows Uniswap versus Coinbase. But if you try to compare it with traditional stock markets, it is insanely different. But I guess one of the topics that I like to talk about often is something called technology infrastructure inversion. And that's basically when a new technology comes out, it uses infrastructure that was there from the technology before it in order to reach people. And then once that new technology becomes important enough, you see that flip in technology infrastructure. So maybe what I said is a bit vague, so I'll give a couple of analogies to give it some context. Internet. I'm sure here everyone remembers when we used to use landlines to basically get internet across. Like, if someone picked up the phone at your house, your internet connection would drop. It was a shit way of getting internet across, but everyone had landlines. So, like, okay, how do we get internet to everyone? Yeah, we used outdated infrastructure to get this new technology across. That's why people use centralized exchanges today. Most people have bank accounts, debit cards, outdated financial infrastructure, but that's what's going to allow us to bring 100, 200, 500 million people into crypto. And then once you realize that, okay, shit, why am I using that outdated infrastructure in the first place? Then you'll see the infrastructure inversion. So I think cars is also a good example. When cars were first made, and they exported cars from the US to the UK had a requirement that someone had to like carry a red flag and walk in front of the car because the car was seen as a death machine, like it could kill people. And then slowly but surely, people realized, okay, cars are actually useful. You can get you from point A to point B way better than walking or a horse. Then we started seeing asphalt roads. And yeah, I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is, in 5 years' time, we will drop the outdated infrastructure. Like, as a centralized exchange, we have very high dependencies on outdated systems like SWIFT. For us, like, someone deposits money in the UAE in dirhams, and we need to sell them ETH. Where the hell are we going to get that ETH? We need to get it from one of the liquidity providers who has accounts either in Silvergate or some other Web2/traditional infrastructure. So we have to depend on the SWIFT system, and sometimes wires get lost for days or weeks. So yeah, I guess going forward, you'll start sourcing that ETH or Bitcoin or other crypto locally. Yeah, don't worry, I won't stay longer. And I'm not going to keep everyone away from lunch, because I know that's ready. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about DeFi applications. I think everyone here is quite familiar with it. So how can I get involved? I guess one of the things that we're looking to do at Coinmena is allowing people to stake their ETH. You know, this is, for me, one of the most win-win situations out there. If you don't need liquidity, actually, even if you need it to be liquid, you can still do it. But it's the equivalent of putting dollars in your bank and not putting them to work. Because by holding Ethereum, you technically have the credit risk of Ethereum itself. So if Ethereum 2 doesn't really work out, then you're screwed anyway. Or we're all screwed anyway. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is you should definitely stake your ETH. And at Coinmena, we're planning on making that process extremely simple, where you can go from a dirham wire transfer into staked ETH. Cool. If any of you are UAE residents or live in the GCC, sign up on Coinmena and feel free to pass by our booth if you have any questions on how to get your money from the rest of the world into somewhere safe like Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you very much.